I'd like to reiterate some of your points. Like, hey, you got really good wood too. You know what I mean? But the greatest wood comes from New Heights, and that's a Cincinnati legend through and through in Travis Kelce. Jason Kelce, you talked about the absolute dogs from Ohio. Sorsby.
In a lively sports roundtable, Pat McAfee wasted no time making waves as he turned the conversation toward Kansas City Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce, boldly stating in front of his fellow analysts that Kelce holds the title for having the greatest wood. Laughter immediately erupted among everyone present, each analyst reacting with surprise and amusement, and the moment quickly became the talk of the day. McAfee, never known for mincing words, continued his praise by directly addressing the group, saying, "I want to make something clear here. You all have some quality wood too, but the absolute best wood, the top-tier wood, belongs to Travis Kelce, the Cincinnati legend from New Heights." The rest of the panel tried to contain their laughter, but the unexpected direction of the conversation made it impossible for anyone to keep a straight face. As soon as that segment hit social media, especially after user OOTavashazatu posted the clip on X, it started circulating widely, drawing reactions from all corners of the internet. Fans and viewers jumped in, adding their own commentary and jokes, turning the moment into an instant classic that would be replayed and discussed for days. While the phrase itself sparked countless memes, jokes, and playful banter, it also reignited speculation about Taylor Swift, who had recently been in the headlines for her rumored connection to Kelce. People quickly recalled her latest song, Wood, from her 12th studio album, The Life of a Showgirl, which featured the lyrics, New heights of manhood, manhood, I ain't got a knock on wood, which many thought was both a nod to Kelce's popular podcast and a cheeky reference to his manhood. These lines were dissected and tweeted about endlessly, with both Swifties and football fans finding humor and intrigue in the crossover between pop music and sports culture. McAfee, meanwhile, wasn't finished with his admiration. He made sure to shout out Kelce's podcast alongside his much-discussed Wood, blending football talk with pop culture references in a way that only he could. The internet responded just as enthusiastically, with fans jumping into the replies and comments, each trying to top the last with jokes and reactions. One well-known Swiftie dropped a "Preach it, Pat," with an explosion of laughing and heart emojis, while another admitted they couldn't stop giggling and wanted to know how the conversation even got started. "How did we even get here? Why were we talking about wood? I swear there's no context that explains this," they wrote, echoing the confusion and delight of many others. A third fan just called McAfee the biggest Tavis stan FR, and yet another chimed in with, "Pat, never change. Seriously, we love you." The banter continued as more fans piled on, riffing on the now famous phrase and pushing it into trending territory. Subscribe for more moments like this that you won't want to miss. The story didn't end with just one viral moment, though. Pat McAfee has had a long-standing appreciation for both Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's partnership, and that admiration has made several appearances on air and online. When he joined the Kelce brothers on their New Heights podcast back in October, he didn't hesitate to praise their relationship, stating that it brought a fresh wave of attention and excitement to the sport. "Travis, people talk about this all the time, I'm sure. You and Taylor being together, it's incredible for football. The two of you are opening the sport up to a whole new crowd," he said, his words echoing across social platforms and sports news outlets. This sentiment was picked up by fans, media personalities, and even those who had only a passing interest in football, all finding something to enjoy in McAfee's larger-than-life enthusiasm. The story of Kelce, Swift, and the greatest wood became a running joke in group chats, on sports radio, and at tailgates, with people quoting McAfee or referencing the viral song lyrics every chance they got. As the weeks went by, the conversation kept growing, and it wasn't long before more details and anecdotes began to surface about how the entire scenario unfolded. Friends and teammates of Kelce added their 2 cents, sometimes ribbing him about his newfound fame as the man with the greatest wood, other times defending him with jokes of their own. Some even started riffing on the song, coming up with parody lines or chanting new heights of manhood during games and watch parties. Meanwhile, Taylor Swift fans continued to dissect every lyric, convinced that the references in Wood had layers of meaning tied to Kelce, football, and their growing celebrity romance. Sports shows picked up the story, turning it into a segment that would get replayed before and after games, with analysts taking turns seeing who could deliver McAfee's line with the most dramatic flair. Even casual viewers who usually skipped the commentary found themselves drawn in, waiting to see just how far the joke would go and how many layers would be added as the season wore on. The Chiefs' own social media team couldn't resist getting in on the fun, posting subtle nods and inside jokes that only those who had followed the saga from the beginning would catch. The phrase, "greatest would," started appearing on signs, at games, in hashtags online, and even on t-shirts sold by enterprising fans who knew a viral moment when they saw one. At every turn, McAfee seemed delighted to keep the energy going, popping up on podcasts, interviews, and his own show to remind everyone that, in his view, Kelce was still the reigning champion of the now iconic phrase. The ongoing saga between sports, music, and internet culture kept getting richer, with each new development breathing fresh life into the story. Reporters approached Kelce for comment, and while he mostly just laughed off the attention, it was clear that the whole episode had struck a chord. Even the Chiefs' head coach couldn't resist a sly grin when asked if he agreed with McAfee's assessment, though he stopped short of giving his own ranking. Backstage, at concerts, and after games, the story continued to grow, with more and more people joining in the fun. Taylor Swift herself was seen laughing off questions about the Wood lyrics, and while she never offered a direct answer, her playful responses only fueled more speculation and excitement. The intersection of sports and pop music kept both fan bases busy, with Swifties and Chiefs fans uniting over shared jokes, memes, and a steady stream of content that kept everyone entertained. The phrase "greatest would" was now a staple of sports talk radio, music blogs, and late-night shows, with hosts challenging guests to come up with their own takes or explain how such an unlikely phrase became a touchstone for an entire season. The stories continued to swirl, with fans recounting where they were when they first heard the clip, or how they explained the joke to friends who were out of the loop. Some even started creating their own skits, weaving the phrase into parody, interviews, and mock press conferences, while others wrote parody songs inspired by Swift's Wood, further cementing the connection between the two worlds. Every week, new layers were added as the saga evolved, with McAfee never missing a chance to keep the momentum going. He made sure to mention it again on major broadcasts, and even when the topic shifted to other players or games, someone would inevitably bring the conversation back around. "You know, no one's topping Kelce's Wood" became a running gag, and soon enough people outside of football started referencing it in unrelated contexts, from comedy shows to morning radio. The viral phrase even inspired a limited edition bobblehead, complete with a miniature Kelce holding a wooden plaque, which sold out almost immediately and became a collector's item. As the story continued, new twists emerged. Kelce's teammates began leaving little wooden tokens in his locker before games, a good luck charm and a reminder of the joke that had brought everyone together.